Hi, welcome to Sister Show. I'm Melissa.
And I'm Nina.
And today we're going to be talking about police brutality.
So, Melissa, we have heard and seen about policemen pulling African American males over and killing them for no reason. And our country is in big trouble.
And you know, Nina, we have experienced police brutality with our parents and our father and our family. So our father is here today, and he's going to tell y'all a little bit about our experience and what has happened to us a month ago. So how are you doing today?
I'm doing great, Melissa. Glad to be on you and Nina's sister show here. I count it a blessing and an honor. By the way, a couple months ago, you all asked about doing your own show, and I thought it was great for you all to do it. And also, I'm your producer as well. I'm used to being behind the scene, watching everything and teaching you all what to do, and I believe you all have done a great job. I heard you and Nina, you all was talking about police brutality, and my reason today here is to talk about what we experienced just a month ago. We were coming from a banquet where the judge had honored us, the judge and DHR, they had honored us, and we're foster parents. Thank God for that. We got our hands on a whole lot of things. We're doing a lot, just trying to make a difference, what I'm saying? Helping people. And by the way, I want to thank you all, for allowing us to do what we do. Y'all could have said, no, we don't want to do that. We don't want to help nobody. Y'all could have been selfish, but you all were not selfish, and we want to thank you for that. But anyway, we were coming from the banquet, and me and my wife, we were debating where we're going to stop to get gas and everything. And so I said, well, why not just go on, we'll just go on to NewBrockton, and we'll stop there and get gas because, hey, I'm ready to get home, you know what I'm saying? And so we went on, and make a long story short, we went to the gas station, and they're in NewBrockton, and we stopped, and y'all know your dad. I love talking. I don't meet no strangers now, y'all. I mean, when I come in contact with people, I'm gonna talk. You know what I'm saying? I mean, that's my character. I love talking to people, and when I see folks, I don't just look down on people, look over people. I'm still speak. I'm always about waving. I do believe that that's a ministry all by itself. Just waving and talking to people. And so my wife goes in there, which is you all's mother. She goes in there and she pays for the gas. And so I'm out. I get out to pump the gas and everything, and I see all these cops around, the sheriffs, the NewBrockton police officers, and everybody's there conversating. Something, you could tell that something had happened before we got there. And I'm just speaking and waving to everybody. Speaking, hey, how you doing? I'm seeing different ones. Because I used to be the chaplain for the NewBrockton Police Department over 14 years. And so I'm speaking and doing all that good stuff, and people see us there. And so when the wife get through paying for the gas, she comes back and she gets in the van. And make a long story short, we pull off. By the time we pull off, there comes an officer, the NewBrockton police officer, and before he could actually. Before, I believe when I pulled out, he was coming, and so I stopped to let him by. And when I stopped to let him by, he passed by and he looked at us in some type of way, and I'm like, wow, you know what I'm saying? And I'm like, Lord, man, what's going on? But anyway, and so we proceeded on, and as we proceeded on to head to the Dollar General store to get some oil, because I was telling my wife, I said, baby, you gotta learn to check this stuff, you know what I'm saying? Because hey, I'm not gonna always be there, you know what I'm saying, to check your oil. And it's very important that women, that you check your oil and you check your tires. You just don't jump in a vehicle and drive, Nina, you know what I mean? And Melissa, because one day y'all gonna be driving, and so you got to check these things. Sometimes dad is not gonna always be able to check these things. He's gonna be running, but anyway, and so we were talking about that, me and your mom, and next thing you know, we got on the side road to head on to the Dollar General. My wife looks back and she see the cop. He done turned around, And he turned around in the middle of the road, and he began to speed up and get behind us. And I'm like, Lord have mercy. You know what I'm saying? I hope he ain't going to mess with us today. You know what I'm saying? And so he gets on my tail, and I'm just saying, Lord, I just hope and pray that he's not going to harass us. You know, and so he rides our tail all the way till we get to the Dollar General store. And when we get to the Dollar General store, and I park to get ready to go into the store to get the oil, and about that time the lights come on. And you all are back there, you know, like, Lord, you know, what's going on? You know what I'm saying? What my father done. You know, I was watching my speed and everything. I was 5 miles under the speed limit, and I was checking everything, you know, to make sure, you know, and I did everything right. And I'm like, what is the excuse? And so when he cut the lights on, next thing you know, he gets out of the vehicle. And when he get out of the vehicle, he hollers, put your hands out the window. And about that time, next thing I know, I put my hands out the window, and I'm yet talking to your mother and telling her that, you know, I don't know what this cat is doing, but man, whatever he's done, he done messed up. You know, I haven't done anything wrong, you know. And next thing you know, I'm here, y'all back there hollering. I believe it was Brittany, you know, hollering, Daddy, put your hands out the window, you know. He done took his gun out. And, you know, next thing, y'all, when that happened, my mind, I begin to see my life flash before me in seconds. And I'm like, oh, wow. I know you said, what? Because I didn't know what he was up to. You know, I'm like, we haven't done anything wrong. Don't know what's going on, you know, and for you to pull us, for you to stop us and put your lights on us in the parking lot, you know, that was kind of crazy. And, you know, and then pull your gun out and say, put your hands out the window. You know, I didn't know what was going through this young man's mind. I knew he was young, and I was like, Lord, what is he going to do? What is he trying to do? And about that time, like I said earlier, my life flashed before me. I began to see a whole lot of things happening. You know what I'm saying? I saw things that I've done in my life. You know what I'm saying? God began to bring things back to me, and I began to pray, and I remember pleading the blood of Jesus. You know, Lord, I plead the blood of Jesus. I teach all that, you know, to plead the blood of Jesus over your life. And I begin to plead the blood of Jesus over my life. And I begin to say, Lord, I've done nothing wrong. And you know what I'm saying? What is he going to do? Is he going to shoot me or what? And I'm yet hearing y'all back there hollering, Daddy, please put your hands out the window. You know what I'm saying? And he's got his gun out, you know. I could hear Brittany, and I could hear all that stuff going on. And I'm like, oh my God, you know, one false move, you know. And I can remember, you know, preaching about obedience. You know, I teach y'all about obedience. Be obedient. If they tell you to do it, do it. Don't give them no mouth. You know what I'm saying? What I done wrong, you know? And y'all notice my character was right. Yes. I didn't cut up. You know what I'm saying? I didn't say, man, what you want? What you doing this for? You know what I'm saying? I didn't even, I just listened to him, and I was obedient. God said, just obey, you know? Because one man told me before I even stopped at the Dollar General store, I was going to pull over at the high school and let him go around me. And the Lord spoke to me and said, don't do it. And I kept going. And I was like, Lord, thank you. You know what I'm saying? Thank you, God, just for not pulling over. You know what I'm saying? And just see if he's going to go around us, you know. But I thank God for not pulling over, because I don't know what would have happened then. You know what I'm saying? He could have probably would have just shot me there, you know, without anybody being in the presence, you know what I'm saying, around us. And I thank God for allowing me to go on to the dollar store, and, you know. And when he did that, he got out of the car and he began to pull his gun out on us. And he began to walk, and when he got up to Brittany's door, I'll never forget this. When he got to Brittany's door, he hollered, "What's your name?" You know, and about that time, when he hollered, "What's your name?" I looked and I stuck my head out. I said, "Pastor Timothy Williams." And about that time, I saw him, you know, take his gun and put it back in his pocket. And he started saying, you know, oh, I done messed up. You know what I'm saying? You know, big time. You know, I done messed up. I'm sorry. You know, and in my mind, I was saying, it's too late now, because you could have shot me. You know what I'm saying? What if I would have made a false move? I gave your mother my telephone, you know, my cell phone, you know, and he probably would have thought I was reaching for something. He would have shot me instant. You know what I'm saying? I would have died. I would have been, you know, and the sad part is that my whole family was there, you know, with us. And so I'm grateful today, you know what I'm saying, that it didn't turn out to be where I was shot and killed on the spot just for an accident. You know what I'm saying? And so when he found out who I was, he began to put his gun up and he began to say, "Hey, I'm sorry. I'm sorry. Sorry, man. Come on. It's too late now to say I'm sorry." You know what I'm saying? And so I can imagine what it did to you all. You know what I'm saying? I mean, that night, man, was a bad night. But anyway, when he said that, he came to my door and I looked at, I said, "Man, I know y'all. You know, we all worked together. I was the chaplain there and I knew all of y'all." You know what I'm saying? And so all that was over, I got out of the van, and as I began to walk back, and I kept saying, "I know you, and I know the other officer and everything." And but make a long story short, the other officer comes out from behind the van and says, "I told him so," you know. And y'all heard him. I told him not to do it. I told him not to do it. And you know what I'm saying? And he's telling this man right in front of his face, "I told him not to do it." And I'm like, wow, you know. And you all had your windows open and y'all heard it. And I'm like, you know, what's going on? Because it could have been a bad situation. You know, I could have been shot, you know, ain't no telling what would have happened, you know, but God, you know, and I thank God. And I begin to look at that and you know, and I begin to identify with others. You know, I was able to live and tell the story, you know what I'm saying? But some folk weren't able to live to tell the story. And I tell God all the time, "Lord, thank you for allowing me to be, you know, able to live and tell the story," because, you know, that should have never happened. And you know, and what the officer does is that he makes up and said that there was a bolo. You know what I'm saying? A bolo on a white van like mine. It was a newer model. And y'all know our white van is not one of those new Chevy Uplanders. It's one of those 2008. But it just looked good. You know what I'm saying? We keep it up. And you know, I'm like, I knew right then he was lying. You know what I'm saying? He was telling lies, man. He couldn't even function right. I mean, he was just telling a lie upon a lie. And you know, and I'm like, nah, that can't be, because if there was a bolo, y'all, all the sheriffs at the gas station, they would have surrounded our van. You know what I'm saying? And that's how I know it wasn't true to it. I think it was just a setup, you know. And he profiled me because he saw that I was black.
And another thing is that I don't understand is he didn't ask you for your
registration,
yeah,
tag.
He didn't ask for none of that. He just asked for your name. And so that made me think that it was like police
brutality.
Yeah,
it was simply a profile. He profiled me. I still can't understand that to this day, because I was in their presence and I was on the same vehicle. I couldn't understand it for nothing in the world. I'm like, God, what's going on? You know what I'm saying? Was it a setup? Was it just because I'm an African American? You know what I'm saying? He wanted to show his power to his friend. And you know, that began to ring in my mind too, because he had told him not to do it and he proceeded to do it. You know what I'm saying? Continue to stop us. You know, I couldn't understand it, because if you run my tag, you would have known who I was. You know, and so we know how it feel. You know, we left there that night. You know, I couldn't sleep. You know, I couldn't sleep because I was thinking about my life. You know what I'm saying? I could have been a goner, but God. You know what I'm saying? And I'm telling you, man, you know, it wasn't no funny situation then, but I could sit back and I can just tell God, you know, laugh and just say, God, I just want to thank you. You know what I'm saying? What could have been, but you blocked it. And I stopped by to tell somebody tonight, praise God, God can do anything but fail. You know, he can do it. God can take a bad situation and turn it for your good. And I thank God for blocking that, man. I'm glad we're here today, you know, to be able to talk about it, you know, to talk about what we've been through. We know what it feels like, you know. We know what it's like to be profiled and mistaken by somebody else. And I thought about this too, Melissa, Nina, is that, you know, what if I was somebody else? What if I wasn't Pastor Timothy Williams, well known in the media? You know what I'm saying? What if I was just somebody else?
They probably would have shot you.
I believe he would have shot him. You know what I'm saying? Now, what if I didn't have this legacy in my name and things that I've done in the media? You know what I'm saying? My name is known all over Southeast Alabama. What if that wouldn't have been the case? I do believe that whoever it might have been, they would have got shot that night, you know, because people were standing all around saying, you know, they wondered if they're going to take a picture of it, use their phone to video it or what. They didn't know what the officer was going to do. And some was saying, he going to shoot him. He going to shoot him, you know. And I thank God, you know. So how do you all feel? Nina?
Well, I felt mad that night because it happened, but it's really nothing I can do about it. So I just left it alone.
Yeah. So what about you, Melissa?
How I took it as that none of it should have happened.
Right.
He shouldn't have never did it. He shouldn't have never pulled us over because I think that he thinks that he could do that type of stuff because he's on a higher level than we are. Like, because he's a cop. And, yeah, and I don't think it just shouldn't have never happened.
Right. It should have never happened. And, you know, and what I gather out of it is that, you know, we were obedient. You know, I kept my composure, you know me, because I love to talk, you know. And now if I ain't done nothing wrong, you know what I'm saying, you know, I want to know why you're doing me this way, you know. But that night, God had me, he had me covered, and I was just calm, you know what I'm saying. And I didn't pretty much get in a debate with the officer, which I'll never do, you know. But I want to know, you're gonna have to give me some answers why you're doing this and why is that, because I have rights too, you know. And you know, tonight we just want to encourage. We want to encourage our African Americans. Don't become aggressive. You know what I'm saying? Now, what if I would have became aggressive? That would have gave him authority to what? To shoot me. He would have said, oh, he was acting out of control. You know what I'm saying? And that's why I shot him. I talked with the mayor and everything, and they began to tell us that he was scared for his life. That is what really got me, is that you're scared for your life. You know what I'm saying? Because everybody is not a thief. Everybody is not a murderer. You know what I'm saying? And I must put it on this term. All African Americans are not bad African Americans. You know what I'm saying? Right. We're not all out robbing people. We're not all out, you know what I'm saying, beating people up. You know what I'm saying? Doing bad things. There yet still some positive, you know, African Americans that want good out of life, that wants the best out of life. You know what I'm saying? We're not being destructive. And so we can't put every African American on that same level.
And when that accident happened, I could tell that it bothered my siblings, like her, and then like the younger ones, because our sisters go to counseling, and the counselor told us that one of them had picked up a police car, and like they never ever have played with a police car.
Ever since it had happened, every time when she used to go in there, she used to pick up a different toy. Like, but since it happened, and now every time she goes in there, she picks up the police car and plays with it.
So that's how we could tell that it was bothering her. She might not want to tell us that it was bothering her, but it was bothering her.
Right. And so we just want to encourage everybody, you know, when the officer asks you to put your hands out, just be obedient. Even if you haven't done anything wrong, just obey. Don't become aggressive. Just obey, you know, and because obedience works when nothing else seems to matter. You know what I'm saying? Just be obedient and just listen and do what you're told. Don't get into debate. Don't argue. You know what I'm saying? Because you can always work that out with pencil and paper. You know what I'm saying? When you take it to your attorney or you go get somebody to represent you. President Obama was talking about too many people losing their lives over, you know, police brutality and police shooting folks for no reason. And, you know what I'm saying? Just made a mistake. You know, they call it a mistake, but they allowed the power to get to their head. Sometimes people can become trigger happy, you know. So that's why I'm encouraging, you know, all of our young males, you know, be careful. Watch your attitude, you know. Carry yourself in a respectful manner, you know. Just be watchful at all time, you know what I'm saying? Let people know where you're going, you know. Just pay attention because of the time that we're living in.
Yeah, and not only men or young men, young women and women to watch.
That's right, as well. You know, and it's sad because when you look at things like this, you know, this is what happened back in the 40s and 50s. And you wouldn't think that this stuff is going on today, you know. When you look at it, you know, working with young people, I had kids to ask me, what have I done wrong, to be treated this way just because of the color of our skin? You know what I'm saying? I didn't ask to be African American. I didn't ask to come here. You know what I'm saying? Why I got to suffer because of the color of my skin, And it's sad that we have to sit down and have these conversations with our kids. It look like that this stuff ought to be over with. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. Because we ought to be done came together, unified, because working together for a common cause. Because I tell folk all the time, you can't go to heaven with racism in your heart.
Right.
Because God is a God of love. You know what I'm saying? Racism, you all, is a form of hatred. Is that you hate somebody for no cause. What is the cause? What have they done to you? You know what I'm saying? And we gotta check ourselves that when this stuff happened, no hatred settled in my heart. I didn't begin to hate him for that. You know what I'm saying? What he did, I forgave him. You know what I'm saying? I forgave him, but yet and still he's held to a higher standard than me. You know what I'm saying? So I had to deal with it, even though I forgave him. But there's consequences after every action that we do. You know what I'm saying? And so we had to deal with it. I didn't harbor hatred in my heart. I still love him to this day. I love everybody, and we have to show love. We can't hate folk because of the color of their skin or because they can't do what we do or they don't have what we have, but we got to show love. And I want to encourage everybody out there, don't begin to hate people. You know what I'm saying? Don't allow hatred. What we're going through in our country right now, don't allow hatred to steam in your heart, but show love. Work together. You know what I'm saying? Even though it happened, bridge the gap. I remember in North Carolina when the incident happened, and it's sad that we're back here again talking about this stuff. In North Carolina, a Caucasian guy goes up in the church and he shoots all those people. He fellowships with them, and then he turns around and he kills them. But what really struck out there is that the church folks came together and they forgave that young man. And I know that hurt him more than anything because they demonstrated love. The pastor lost his life, but the people came together and they began to demonstrate love, what they have been taught, and I thought that to be credible. Man, that was awesome. When you can come and just forgive and say, hey, we're going to work together. We're going to bridge together. And we're going to bridge that gap. You know what I'm saying?
How you said they forgave him, I wish that's how we can be. But if a Caucasian person or a male shoots an African American male, it's done. Because
you see a lot of that, but you still got to be willing to forgive. We've got to get over that
and show love.
And show love in spite of it all. And show love. It happened, and and it stemmed from hatred. It stemmed from lack of knowledge. Because when you have hatred in your heart, you give the enemy power over you. And that's why we got to love. I hope and pray that something, was said today to really bless somebody, because we got to get away from hatred. We got to stop building walls, and we got to start working together, because we're in a new day now. We're in the 20th century now, and for things to be happening like it was happening back then, we're in trouble. 2016. Right. It looked like we would have graduated from, all of this hatred and fighting and killing one another and, not getting along and coming together. And I want to encourage our African American males, it's time to pull together and begin to unite, and let's stop fighting one another and let's work together.
End the division and come together.
That's right. We got to end it. It's calling for unity, not just for African Americans, It's for everybody. All of us as a human race, we need to come together, bridge the gap, and just watch God manifest, because the devil is the author of confusion. And he comes to divide, he comes to separate, and he don't want harmony. He don't want us to be on the same page. But I want to encourage somebody out there today that is listening to this telecast. It's time to come together. Let's work together for a common cause. And y'all, I want to tell you, thank you for allowing me, to come on your set today and just share our testimony and talk about how we were done. Y'all, this is nothing made up. This is what actually happened. happened to us a month ago, you know, and, you know, every now and then I visit this stuff, you know, and I just begin to get a praise. You know, the psalmist said, I'm going to put a praise on it. And I begin to put a praise on it. And when I watch this stuff that's on the news and what have happened, I'll never forget one day, I was sitting in the room there, me and your mother, and I saw this guy, I believe it was in Missouri. He was a janitor. And when I heard his story, and you know, and they began to talk about how his fiance or his wife, I can't remember who it was, and how he told the police that he had a gun and it was registered and he has his registration, and you know, and he went to get his registration and they shot him. And about that time when I heard that and I began to listen, tears began to roll down my eyes, and I began to say, God, you allowed me to exempt from this, to escape this, and this man get killed, but you allowed me to be exempt, to come out alive. And I just got up and I walked out, and my wife was looking at me, you know, and she was like, Lord. And I was like, God, thank you. That's all I could do was just say, God, thank you. Y'all just don't know, you know what I'm saying? You just don't know, because when you're that close to death, you know what I'm saying, and God allow you to escape, that's enough right there to just tell him, Lord, I thank you. You know what I'm saying? Because he could have went back and said, oh, it was a mistake. You know what I'm saying? And that's what some of them do. But God, I'm grateful every day. I'm grateful for everything God has done, you know. And I want to tell you all, thank you, you know, once again for allowing me to come on your show today. I know y'all about to break out in tears. Oh, God, you know, it's emotional. You know what I'm saying? But God, you know, God still worked miracles. We saw God work a miracle. You know what I'm saying? And I'm grateful. And y'all keep doing what you're doing on your show. And I believe your show is going to go. It's gonna blow up off the charts like never before, because y'all two young ladies, and you know, and y'all don't mind talking about different things, and just seeing you all, you know, mature in front of the camera, it means a lot, you know. It means a lot, because this prepares you for your future. So once again, thank you. And
well, you're welcome. And you heard it from him, the story. And we'd like to say thanks for tuning in to Sister Show, and we see you next week at the same time.
Goodbye.